वेलकम टू वी लर्न। वी लर्न में आपका स्वागत है। Today's topic for discussion is advertising copy and design strategy under the subject advertising management and sales promotions. Topics to be covered are: first, introduction; second, types of advertising copy; third, creativity in advertising; fourth, copy testing methods; and fifth, visual strategies. एडवर्टाइजिंग कॉपी की अगर हम बात करें तो आउटसाइड द एडवर्टाइजिंग फ्रेटर्निटी people think it's a very glamorous job, it's a very romantic job, and they have a very rosy picture. Yes, it is very glamorous, it is very romantic, but there is a lot of hard work also involved. While the actual creative content of a campaign that carries the selling message, it is indeed the core of the campaign, and everything rises and falls with it. So designing an appropriate advertising campaign or the content is the bottom line, and in the final analysis it is a deadly serious professional work. So when we say the whole environment of copywriting, it has changed tremendously. When we talk, India was still a shortage economy and very little import of luxury or necessary goods, right? So the pathetically small amount of goods available on the market sold any which ways, whether they were being advertised or not. And there at that point in time, the advertising have more of a cosmetic and informative contribution. But as the liberalization happened and imports and there were rise in disposable income, consumers, they have more choices on the hand. And due to busy lifestyle, so little time was really observed and process anything that advertising creativity has to take a different role. When we talk of types of ads and advertising copy, they are broadly classified into two: consumer and corporate. So when we say anything about advertising, the primary job जो advertising का है वो है it is to sell, and if it is done with high literary skills and captivating visual beauty, then it becomes great. So besides providing only the information, right, and also giving a lot of visual beauty, visual aids, the value of advertising increases, and thus there are more likelihood of selling chances increasing. Here nowadays the trend is to keep the ads as simple and brief as possible, and making the offers and benefits so very irresistible, so that ultimately the decision is to buy a product. During early periods, copy was always written from the manufacturers or from the brand's point of view. It used to highlight the features, the attributes associated with the product, but now the focus is shifting. Now what advertising is doing, it is becoming the unthinking response, whereas there are a lot of color prints ads, there are a lot of visual beauties associated with it. Now we can clearly now say that designing an ad and advertising copy is not an easy job. Most successful copywriters, they are highly specialized in just 2 or 3 areas, and they cannot write for all the products available in the market. There are copywriters who are very comfortable, who have confined themselves to design advertisements of industrial, technical or scientific clients. There are copywriters who only associate themselves with the products related to FMCG. When we talk about consumer advertising, here they are the most visible, they are the expensive, lavish, and the most frequently repeated in multiple medias. So, and they are most entertaining, and they automatically attracts the best of professional creative talent, right? But since they are repeated so many times to beat the competition, there are chances that it may become a little boredom. So a copy in this particular case is designed to withstand the boredom of repetition associated with it. There are attempts which are continuously made to influence the target either to switch brand or to continue to the use of an advertised brand. अगर हम corporate advertising की बात करते हैं, these are the ads which do not try to sell the brand manufactured by the company, but they are built to create an equity, a goodwill for the company, right? These are thus created when a company feels that it has reached a status when it is bigger than the sum total of the product. So when an advertisement which is aimed at only the corporate image of a company, only when it is aimed at increasing the goodwill of the company, then we call it as a corporate advertising. In the short run, this category may seem wasteful and pointless, especially in times of recession when we talk, right? But this is an absolute necessary, because only when a consumer trusts and respects a company, then only he will be able to buy the products of the company. Then only he will be able to stick to the brands which he is using in the present context. Image, when we talk about corporate advertising, it is also called as image advertising, and it is often used in situation where an organization needs to educate the target audience on some issue. कोई इशू दिमाग में होता है, कोई प्रोडक्ट दिमाग में नहीं रह के, when there is an issue, a motive behind an ad, then such kind of advertisements are made. जैसे एक situation है where a merger has occurred between two companies and the newly formed company has taken over on a new name, or if a company has received certain recent negative publicity and wants to let the market know that they are about much more than this one issue. So in these particular areas, right, in these particular areas, corporate advertising is very necessary. When we talk about corporate advertising, we talk about organizations such as CRY. So these are the organizations, they are not catering to the product, they are catering to building the image of the organization. It's an NGO which caters to the need, to the education of the poor children. So the advertisements there are centered with a mindset that yes, we have to create a goodwill for the corporate. We have to create a good image for the corporate. When we talk about corporate advertising, there are certain subdivisions. The first is advocacy advertising. When organizations use advertising to send a message intended to influence a target audience, right, it is called advocacy. For example, if an organization stands to take a stand on a political issue which they feel that could have a negative impact, so they will release advertisements to raise their voice on the position of the issue, whatever position they are taking. Another is advertorial advertisement. These are very common nowadays in the sense that this is used to enhance the credibility of advertising copy. Here consumers and readers, they are alike each other. They are very cynical about the intrusiveness. So the advertorials, though they are paid for, they are paid form of an advertisement, and somewhere in the piece it will say in small type advertisement, are written exactly like an editorial piece. The similar writing style would be adopted, formal language, paras, punctuations, there would be typefaces, column width, techniques of headlines, so which are generally used by the regular journalistic editorials. So they believe that the newspaper itself has written it and stands by it. So it's called advertorial. Another is public service advertising. It is a corollary of corporate advertising, and it flourishes when economy does well. These are the types of ads which are released when a company can afford to talk about things other than its products, right? These are the ads which are released by products which are not allowed to advertise in mass media, right? And when we talk about financial advertising, there are most companies which prefer to raise finance through public directly through IPOs. So these are the situations when they advertise. So when they raise an IPO, that means they are inviting people to hold some share in the company, to become partners in the company. So when an organization advertise about an IPO, it becomes public financial advertising. Another is industrial advertising. These are not showy and glamorous, but they occupy a huge amount of advertising space and budget. They are basically capital goods advertisement, and they are related to business marketing or industrial products. When we talk about specialty advertising, this is a form of sales promotion which is designed by the advertising agencies. Here a company has its name and slogan printed on glasses, for example, or caps or school bags, and works as a brand extension. Trade advertising, when we talk about, this is strictly for selling within the trade, right, within a common trade, and released only in trade magazines and newspapers. The features are, they're very highly technical, they are brief and to the point, they're very crisp, they're very descriptive, and no nonsense business is there in the thing. When we talk about direct mail advertising, this is a special kind of copywriting since it contains many pieces such as personalized letter and envelopes, direct marketing, catalogs, flyers, response card. There are many outlets which are doing it. Personalized invitations are being sent by them. Another is retail advertising. This particular advertising is helpful in fancy shopping malls. Here retail advertising required special copy strategy because so many shops are now crowded together. Often they are adjacent side by side, and they all are selling identical brands and products. So advertising here has the job to lure the visitor with ever-changing attraction. These type of advertisings are strictly local and paid for by the retailers themselves and not by the manufacturers. Very good examples of the shopping malls. Another is cooperative advertising. Cooperative advertising means there are several parties with some brands or products share the advertising expense. It becomes an excellent tool for malls, busy shopping areas that sell seminar products, cosmetics or garment brands, for instance. When we talk about recruitment advertisements, so now India has become very youth and it is a very growing nation. So recruitment ads are becoming very important, and they're becoming a part of consumer ads. They are as important as consumer ads. Now, these ads are released in special pages in any daily newspaper or in the classified sections, and they are even released online as well. When we talk about classified and personal advertising, this class has grown into huge segment, and it has become a huge business now. It can be anything from an ad for a lost cat to an obituary or a birthday greeting. Classifieds also includes matrimonials as well. There are other ads which could be called as tender advertising. This is basically not exactly an exciting copy. It doesn't have a flowery language, but an inalienable part of serving a client. These ad informs the company's supplier about the goods and services it requires from time to time. Notification and legal ads, when we talk about, this is too bland but large category that must be released for information an individual or company may wish to communicate to the public. When we talk of outdoor advertising, this covers basically a big area and includes everything from hoardings to posters, lit panels in railway stations and airports, sides of the buildings, lamp poles, everything it includes. So this is a very good medium to reach the folks who do not read newspapers, those who are not in the habit of reading newspapers or magazines or watching televisions. Another is reminder and point of purchase media. There are all the in-store pieces like danglers, tents, placements in bars and restaurants, which just mention the brand name and the color scheme of the company. There nobody is reading these situations, so copy is very brief. These are extremely effective form of ads because they catch the eye of the shopper or the diner without his or her even being aware of that. So it happens basically in the subconscious mind. When we talk about creativity in advertising, yes, advertising is a creative process. It needs a lot of creativity, but it is not very simple. It requires a lot of brains, it requires a lot of hard work to deliver an effective advertising. So there has been a lot of hype and noise about the creativity, and mostly it is done by the advertising professionals themselves only. But what happens, copywriters and visualizers, every day they are working so very hard. So they have their style, they have their panache, and they have their deadly delivery to give the results in time. When we say advertising creativity, it is not as simple as drawing a painting or writing a poem. A good piece of ad is very hard-headed business communication, released at a tremendous expense. There is a huge amount of expenditure involved, which is designed to deliver results much beyond the scale of expense involved. A piece of really good creative work is largely intuitive. It needs many kind of mundane inputs from many sources, but the end result is very sparkling. It is a personal message that hooks the interest of the reader. So these kind of activities, they do not happen in vacuum. Some amount of hard work and lot amount of hardcore information must be supplied to the creative team. For this process to actually happen, lots of facts and figures about the company must be given to the creative team. All kind of informations about the product. The target group and their desired market profile is also a very essential thing. Here, consumer research results, if there are any, becomes the interested point here. Another is gathering and analysis of data. Problem definition, search for an idea. These are the important inputs while designing and writing an advertising copy. Now, when we say the creative process must take into consideration a marketing proposition. What is the marketing proposition? What kind of marketing research that has happened? What are the manufacturing specification that has been taken care of? What is the dealers and retailers feedback on a particular take? And what are the users feedback which is available? What are the perceived dreams and desired lifestyle of the target? These are the very important points to be taken care of. Another is, what is the social image and profile of the target? Another is aspiration versus purchasing power, which means I aspire to buy a product, but then I do not have enough purchasing power. I do not have money to buy it. Another is market perception and positioning of the brand. कॉपी टेस्टिंग एंड मेथड्स व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट, सो एक ये ऐसी स्टेज है जहाँ पे जो हमने अभी तक कॉपी ड्राफ्ट करी है एडवर्टाइजिंग की, वी पुट फॉरवर्ड इट फॉर अ टेस्ट. टेस्ट में रेंज फ्रॉम एनीथिंग फ्रॉम changes in the price, product features, if whether we want to introduce new features or we want to reinforce the old benefits, so anything that is related to it. So the selection of copy testing method, process, time involved, and exactly what aspect is being tested are very important. When we say copy testing, there are certain measures which are involved. First is the recognition of the release done. Another is recall, aided and unaided. Persuasion or ability to change the attitude. Purchase behavior, brand loyalty and amount of the product actually purchased, and emotional response. अगर हम विजुअल स्ट्रैटेजीज की बात करते हैं तो पहला है 8 डिपार्टमेंट की स्पेशलिटीज. What is informally called an advertising agency studio employs many specialists. They're starting with the creative director, art director, visualizers, DTP operators, finishing artists, graphic designers. So there are a large number of highly trained and talented people working in perfect coordination to produce the ultimate product. They all are so trained in different levels and kinds of commercial art schools. When we develop a layout, we take into consideration a lot many things. What kind of photography? So good photography adds the movements, the actions, the textures and life, even the still ads in print media. However, commercial photographers are very expensive and many agencies use freelancers. We talk about line drawings, illustrations and wash drawings. They are often used to add sharpness, precision and force to the motif. Color is also used. It is a very powerful tool and can be in itself a medium of communication. Soft, pretty colors, for example, are used for women's and children's products. We talk about typography. It is the second best, most powerful visual component. There are hundreds and hundreds of decorative types of fonts available nowadays, right? There are two types of faces. One is serif and the other is sans serif. So serif is the little line at the bottom of the letter. These types are also called as Romans. We talk about cursive. They are the calligraphic. They belong to the calligraphic family. Another is italics. Italic groups is the slanting typeface. Another is height. They differ in height or vertical measurements. We decide on that also. Another is thickness. Most families of typefaces, when we talk, have regular book, medium, or bold, which is the thickness of the font. When we talk about the power of synergy, it is very essential that copy and visual pull together to deliver the total message. If this integration is not maintained, the copy and visual pull in different directions and creates such subconscious discomfort in the target that he just tunes out and may even develop a negative attitude for the brand. There are two questions for you, two exercises for you. First is, what are the types of advertising copy, and second, what is the creativity in advertising. Thank you and have a nice day. Keep learning, we learning. ये सेव नहीं हो रहा, सेव नहीं हो रहा, सेव डिलीट होगा। नहीं नहीं, वो F10 कर रही हूँ, वो हो ही नहीं रहा। F10 करने पे कुछ नहीं हो रहा। F10 ये आपने क्या दबाया है? और कंट्रोल सेव तो होना चाहिए इस टाइम। पीछे कैसे बात है? पीछे भी आपका सेव नहीं होता ऐसे है ना?